What's up, everybody? I'm Matt.
And I'm Beth.
And today we're going to be reviewing the 2020 Kia Forte GT interior. So, this is a brand new version of the Forte. They had the standard Forte that came out last year, and I did a review on one of those last year. But now we have the GT version, which is the faster one, and they nicely made the interior a little more sporty. And for the price of this one this is like fully loaded at like $26,400. And so you have to remember, all this stuff you're seeing comes from a car that's only $26,000. It still has 200 horsepower, really good sporty performance, and still has a nice interior, which can't be said for some of the competition. And so anyway, first thing, sitting down in these seats, you have these really sporty seats. This has this like fake leather, and it feels a little rubbery to me, but I think it actually feels pretty good. And
I actually really like them. I think they're nice, and I think the bolstering is nice. It holds you in, but it doesn't hold you in to the point where you feel like you're constricted. I think it's nice.
Yeah, it's a real happy medium, I think. I like the bolstering a lot too. It hugs me in pretty well, but it's not too tight. So yeah,
right, yeah,
it's really great. And yeah, they're perforated seats as well. I like the red trim on them, so they're attractive too, with the GT embroidering there on the back.
They're heated and cooled, and actually, honestly, I would say that this cooling system is way better than the cooling system in my Mercedes. So if that's of interest to you, like, this is very nice.
Yeah, Kia does some of the best cooled seats. Them and Hyundai, they get nice and cold really quickly. But it is important to note that the heating and cooling of the seats only comes with this GT2 package. So it's like a $2,000 upgrade on a standard Forte GT. And unfortunately, you can only get it with the dual clutch automatic. You cannot get the heated and cooled or the leather seats actually with the manual transmission, unfortunately. If you want a manual in your Forte GT, you're going to have a little bit of a more basic interior, but you still get a lot of the nice trim you see here. You know, like this metal plated trim around the shifter and around the dashboard area and the steering wheel. And moving on to the steering wheel, that is one thing that is a real nice upgrade over a standard Forte. It has a great 9-3 grip, nice 10-2 notches. I love the red stitching. You have actual metal plating here for the bottom of the steering wheel with a nice GT badge, and the paddle shifters on the back of the wheel are metal plated as well. Now, they're not metal all the way through because they still feel kind of plasticky, but they're cool to the touch, actually have some metal on them. You do have these other buttons that look like metal but are definitely plastic here on the front, but just a few buttons here on the wheel, and it's a really attractive wheel. I love this wheel, and again, for the price of this vehicle, it's a lot nicer than some of the competition. Gauges are also really nice here in the Forte GT. They're just your basic standard analog gauges, and yeah, the digital portion is pretty small and just black and white, so not super impressive there. And considering like there is like the Volkswagen Jetta GLI, which has digital gauges that this competes against, you know, this is a little behind as far as that goes. But again, the Volkswagen Jetta GLI is going to cost you a couple $1,000s more. So again, going back to the value side of this, I think for most enthusiasts, digital gauges are nice but not a must-have, and so I think Kia focused on all the important things, and gauges, you know, still look attractive and still have all the basic stuff that you want in there. And so overall, no real complaints there either. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, you have this really nice 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system, and I love the way Kia and Hyundai do this touchscreen. It's very simple and straightforward. You have a volume and a tune knob, it has satellite radio. It also has the Clarify technology, so that actually cleans up the audio from satellite radio so it doesn't sound quite as grainy. And so someone like myself that listens to satellite radio a lot, I really appreciate that. So that's a nice feature. It also has standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto here, and no navigation or anything, but I don't know of anyone that actually uses built-in nav anymore. Everyone just uses their phone, and so great you have that smartphone integration. Speaking of the stereo though, there's also a Harman Kardon stereo here as part of the upgrade in this GT2 package, and so that is a nice thing. Also, you do get that stereo if you go for a manual transmission version. So the manual packages things slightly differently, but that is one thing. If you do want the manual, you can still get a good stereo in that, so that's a nice thing. And so yeah, it sounds pretty good. Again, for this class of vehicle we're in, I actually have no complaints. I think it's pretty clear and pretty powerful and all that.
Yeah, I think it actually is pretty nice because everything is nice and easy. I really hate the complicated stuff, and I think that this is a no-brainer of how to use everything.
Yeah, keep it simple. There's no reason to make it super confusing like a lot of the German companies do and stuff. So good job there.
Also part of the GT2 package is the nice sunroof, and yeah, it is pretty nice. It's not big, but it's nice to have.
Something.
Yeah.
Coming down, you have the dual zone automatic climate control, which again is part of the dual clutch version. The standard manual transmission just gets a single zone. Either way, it's fine though. No big deal either way, and works well. And then moving on to storage space here in the Forte GT. They did a really good job on these new Fortes, and so this is the same as any other Forte in that regard, but it's really good. So you have large pockets in the doors with a bottle holder. You have this center cubby down here, which has 2 USB jacks, one for charging and one for, playing music and stuff. And you have an auxiliary jack and a normal power outlet as well. So if you want to plug in a dash cam like I do or something like that, you have that right out in the open as well.
Also above the center cubby is the wireless charging pad, which is really nice because if you have little things that you're putting in the center cubby, like your key fob or anything like that, you don't have to worry about scratching your phone or anything, and you can put it right above there and have it charged, and
yeah,
there you go. Yeah,
it's great that you have that separation, because some other cars don't. They just have one big bin and you have part of it for charging. I like that it's nicely separated. It's also, rubberized as well, so it holds your phone in there really well. There's a little ledge here, and so a really well done charging pad. Not just that it has it, but it's well integrated. You also have 2 cup holders here, which are good, and the center armrest, which is actually really rubbery and is one of the areas where this car does feel a little bit cheaper, but not a big deal, again, considering the price and the performance and stuff. And you open that up and you'll see another USB jack in there that's for charging, and a decent amount of space there in this cubby. It's not massive, but certainly good enough for holding, sunglasses, all that kind of stuff in there. And so, not a big deal, but it is soft at least. I just wish that was a little bit of a nicer material.
it is kind of nice for my bony elbows, though. I think it's not bad.
Well.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, again, for the price, it's not bad. There is some hard plastics and stuff, but that's what you're expecting in a vehicle of this price point. And again, with the performance you get, like the e-brake handle is just hard plastic, stuff like that, but not a big deal. And I do like that there still is a manual e-brake handle, and it's not an electronic e-brake like many others.
Yes, once again, you could do your hardcore drifts in the snow or wherever you want.
Yeah, just yank that e-brake anytime you want to go crazy. So, yeah, great that they still include that. Backseat space in the Forte GT is also really great, like any other Forte. So you have a good amount of space. I'm 5'9", I'm sitting behind myself. I have about 3 inches of legroom to spare, which is really good for a vehicle of this size class, and plenty of headroom as well. There's bottle holders in the doors there in the pocket, and there's also a fold down center armrest, which has 2 cup holders built into it. And you also have air vents, which is something you don't get in a lot of competing vehicles in this class as well. That's a little more of a upmarket feature, and so they have that here. Trunk space in the Forte GT is also really good. It's a nice wide and pretty long opening, again, for the class of vehicle we're in. I don't think it's the biggest in its class, but I think it's pretty close, and again, plenty of room for most sedan buyers, and so overall, a good job there. So yeah, that's all our thoughts here on the interior of the Forte GT. Overall, I think it is one of the nicer interiors. There's, a little bit more metal and stuff than what you get in some of the competition, but it's not the blingiest. The Jetta GLI has the ambient interior lighting, the digital gauges, and those types of things. But
it still is really nice for the price, for sure.
That's the thing. This is a couple $1,000s less than that Jetta GLI, and so you're saving a good amount of money. You still get very similar performance, and I actually like the way this drives better than the Jetta GLI, and so you can go watch my driving review, which I'll have posted here the day after this is posted, if you want to hear all my thoughts on this and how it compares to the competition more in depth as far as the pricing and how it drives and everything. I'll link that video above. But yeah,
the inside is definitely not a bad place to be.
Yeah, for 26 grand, this is definitely one of the nicer interiors out there. So I'm very impressed, and I think the only other vehicle that's at this size that's got a nicer interior is the new Mazda 3, but that's not as performance oriented, not as sporty, and you're paying a good bit more for those usually as well. So yeah, it's a really nice interior. But let us know your thoughts on the interior here in the Forte GT in the comments
below.
Yeah, and thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Take care.